the line here for reinforcements-wise. Even heals coming off from Cosmic's Queen, which is quite nice, keeping these mutas alive, able to keep hitting and running. Turtle trying to flee his probes, and that's the problem with this mass Reaper build in team games, is that you can get lots and lots of Reapers out, but you have nothing really to deal with mid-game units, and that's what these Hydras is ripping apart. And Deth's been so good with this muta micro, but now we are seeing Exo getting in on the muta party and just reinforcing the attack on Deth, but Deth just pulls back to these Hydras, and this Queen even going to work on these mutas. Looking on these mutas, may take this Queen out. He's got to flip this muta away, but he's taking a little bit unnecessary damage there. Bunch of Banelings coming in, working on edge there, carving his Hydra's numbers in half, so he's got to be careful. Meanwhile, Turtle trying to rebuild at the top of the map, although this is under the watchful eyes of Deth's Overlord, so I imagine we're going to see some more muta harass over here. If you can hear me, Deth, click over here to the left. But no, meanwhile, while this is going on, Exo sending more mutas in here to try and finish off the Hydras of Edge. So lots of craziness going on right now, while Dell and Edge use this opportunity to get those expansions online in the middle of the map. More Zerglings being produced by Team Zergrush. So right now, it's hard to tell how CSIRAC's team's going to play themselves back in, but they seem to be just surviving right now. They were doing pretty good when they took one of them out, but now a bunch of Zerglings coming in. This Dell's Zerglings just kind of do a run by and harass, taking out a bunch of drones. These mutas, now that the Zerglings are split, are going to do a little bit less damage, but finally the reinforcement mutas come in to do some backup. CSIRAC's actually in a position to produce units now, finally back in the game, warping in a bunch of Stalkers, getting his third gateway online, so he's back. But meanwhile, at the same time, Turtle's being taken out, and he's trying to rebuild and being super aggressive by getting 2 command centers, but these Hydras going to work, taking out a bunch of SCVs. Now the mutas coming in from Exo, SCVs and drone and mules coming into mine back again, so he's going to be set back up, summoning a bunch of mules right now. So now we're in a standoff situation, but we are seeing some sneaky infestors coming out for Dell, and this is going to be a huge nuisance for Exo to deal with, assuming they go to Exo. No detection, no overseers yet, so he's going to be able to summon a bunch of infested Terrans into his mineral line. So this is going to be a huge problem for Exo to deal with. It's going to need a really nice time scan from one of the Terrans, so we're going to see how much damage these infested Terrans do to this mineral line.
Yeah, these shark-like Terrans just skating across the map here, gonna take out a bunch of these drones, just have a huge party in Exo's base. He's not gonna like this one bit once they burrow up. Here they come now with all these infested Terrans, so this is gonna be absolutely just insane amount of infested Terran party in his base. There's so many things going down right now. I mean, they're kind of weak by themselves, but when you've got so many of them, they can take out a whole base quite easily. Oh man, so many of them, and there's really no damage done to the infestors, sorry. So yeah, really great choice there by Dell.
Bad luck, Exo, you don't have a base anymore. Now Edges move at the same time, moving in against these Stalkers. CSIRAC's got to be careful, these back Stalkers cannot fire. This is terrible against these Hydras, which are in much better position. Meanwhile, Dell being a bit sneaky and lobbing in a bunch of infested Terrans into the back of Exo's base. Exo must be furious at these infested Terrans right now. Not much you can do about it without a scan going off, but they are on the cliff, so he won't be able to do much about it. Hydra's getting in position, got these infested Terrans coming out behind him, which are just shredding these drones. Hydra's trying to go to work there, and then Minbari coming in behind, sieging up, using his Vikings to join the fight right here. So this is a little bit of a trap situation for Edge. He's going to lose his Hydras, but the damage is going to be done. And even though Minbari comes in to hold there, Exo is going to be so behind. So now he has to rebuild. And we are seeing Deth and Exo involved in mutalist games, although Minbari bringing in his Vikings to chase off Deth's mutas. But by this point, Deth's got his main back up and he's mining really nicely, got his lab rebuilt at his natural. So the Team Zergrush, aka TA, is in pretty good shape right now, especially as they did that damage to Exo, taking another person out. Scans going off as Exo's trying to take out these infestors. Meanwhile, Dell's sending a bunch of Zerglings to basically suicide right there, but it does kind of distract the army a little bit so he can get his infestors out, and they are hugely expensive. Meanwhile, another group of infestors from Dell coming to the top of the map. It's kind of like watching the B-grade movie Screamers, if anyone's seen that, watching all these infestors scoot all over the map. I'm sure it's terrorizing the hell out of these SCVs, like, oh god, what the hell's coming towards me? So right now, push out coming out from CSIRAC, and Minbari's going to join him with a bunch of Marines, but there's infestors all over the shop, and it's a huge problem, and it's allowing the other members of TA to macro the hell up. Bunch of mutas here for Deth. Huge nest of mutas right there. So he's got to be careful that this group of Stalkers and Marines don't get caught out of position, because they will be munched by this Zerg army.
Look at this infested Terran party up the top here. He just spawned about, I don't know, man, a lot of these infested Terrans. I'm going to say about at least 30 of them, quickly taking out any really force the turtle had left in this area. So, oh man, just love those infested Terrans. I wish I saw more of them in regular games, at least on maps like this, because they're so fun to watch. Of course, very easy to counter if you know what you need, but in a game like this in 4v4, oh man, they are so useful. But this main Stalker, only a handful of Marine army now moving up to try and take care of this problem, but they need some scans. They've got these siege tanks here, but the infestors are nowhere to be found just yet, so they're not going to do the job right now.
Yeah, just hovering underneath this army of Stalkers and siege tanks and swimming right past, just completely ignoring it. And that gives the scouting information for Team Zerg. You see the pings going off right there, realizing what's going on. Bunch of mutas. It's a huge swarm of mutas right there. And we are seeing CSIRAC and Minbari push out. Meanwhile, these infestors join up with their buddies. So no, there's two groups of infestors joined up. But we are seeing this main push coming out from CSIRAC, trying to work on this expansion of Dells, converging here from all sides. The siege tanks are going to be hugely important. Going to have to protect them at all costs, and interesting to see where we're going to see the engagement from the mutas. There comes the nest of mutas right now, working on these Stalkers as they try and move away, taking a bunch of damage. Now the Zerglings coming in, but here come the infestors to flank from the south, and we are seeing lots and lots of Hydras coming in from edge, evaporating. Now the tank siege up, which is good timing. But here come the infestors. There's so many infestors, and here come the lobbed infested Terrans coming out. The Stalkers blink to try and do something about it, but there's infested Terrans all over the place. Green gobs of goo going everywhere. Deth's mutas coming in to join the party, but these siege tanks doing damage to their own line of troops as they try to take out all these infested Terrans. There's so many dead troops on the ground right now. All these siege tanks going down. A bunch of infestors going down as well, but it doesn't matter because that army is being swept out of the way, and this expansion survived.